Foundation, I would like to welcome you all to this third annual Canes Festival that we're doing today. Of course, it's the first one that we've done virtually. All the others have been in person. And when we thought about doing this a few months ago, we thought, well, that'll be a disadvantage. It turns out it may be an advantage. I think the attendance will be good. As a virtual festival, we are able to provide a great opportunity to include many of you literally from around the world. Today, we have people joining us from as far away as Berlin, Germany, and to the East Coast, New York, and here in Oakland, as well as other parts in the East Bay. We have approximately 60 participants signed up to participate in this event today. I would also like to remind you that in addition to the live program that's going on now, there is a silent auction in progress, and we have been monitoring that. And I've been informed that the real steal deal for that bidding at this time is the beach house. Apparently it hasn't gotten a lot of hit, but it's a real sleeper. So if you're looking to make a bid in the silent auction today, that would be good one to keep your eye on. Before we get into the program today, I would like to kind of maybe refresh your memory about the history of the Jackson Orthopedic Foundation. Bill William S.T. Jackson, as he was called, was an orthopedic surgeon who came to Oakland, California in the 1950s. And he joined a fellow named Doug Dixon, another orthopedist, and they developed the Webster Orthopedic Group and developed a unique interest in problems of arthritis, particularly in the hip joint. Now, the hip joint had been very problematic in coming up with a good treatment process that would work for that, surgically or non-surgically. But in the 1960s, a fellow in England by the name of John Charnley developed what we now call the total hip arthroplasty. And that, when it came to this country in the late 60s, was approved by the FDA to be done by a very select group of people. Bill Jackson was one of 4 orthopedists in the entire Bay Area who got the initial approval for that. And so he began doing these total hip arthroplasties on people. And the results were amazing. It was, and it still is a great operation, but it was amazing how people that had maybe never had treatment before or had that for the first time as treatment had such success with this surgery. So Dr. Jackson had many grateful patients who kept coming back to see him, and they were very impressed with his person and his bedside manner, shall we say, and they became very loyal patients to him. And as a result, they wanted him to advance the research and education of orthopedic surgery and particularly arthritis even more, and they donated money to kind of keep it going, and it kind of has slowly grew from there. Later, Dr. Jackson took in a young partner by the name of Mac Reynolds, and he became very involved in Dr. Jackson's practice. And between the two of them, in 1998, I think, is when we can say they officially founded the Jackson Arthritis, as it was known then, Foundation. So over the years, the scope of the Jackson Arthritis Foundation has expanded significantly. And because of this expansion, which include more than just hip arthritis, the name was changed to the Jackson Orthopedic Foundation. And that name has continued until this time. So if we look historically at this, the beginning with President Clinton, the Jackson Orthopedic Foundation can now lay claim to having continued over not 4, but 5 presidents of the United States since its inception, which gives you a sense of the history of it a little bit. Today, the Jackson Orthopedic Foundation encompasses multiple areas, which we'll get into shortly. I'd like to, though, before we get into some of those areas, introduce you to the people that work on a regular basis at the Jackson Orthopedic Foundation. We have a board of directors, which includes Justin Clark, Kathy Geyer, Kathy Matthews, and myself. We recently realized that this job of putting together this virtual meeting was going to take a special group of people. And so over the last few months, we've had a subcommittee, which has been headed up by Molly Walker and Rico Akimoto, to help with the board of directors in putting together this program. And I can't tell you how many hours they have put into this. It's, obviously it was a new thing for everybody. And the meetings I would go to, which unfortunately because of my schedule wasn't every one, but I was always impressed how great leaps and bounds they made to kind of keep this thing going. And it's been very interesting to do a lot of something new for this. In addition, the Jackson Orthopedic Foundation founded a marketing committee, feeling that we needed to be able to expand the footprint a little bit. And in addition to the board of directors, there are two people who are very involved in that, Tom Wagner and Tim Hart. You will hear later in this program from Tim Hart, who will tell you kind of the results of a recent project that he's been working on, and I think will really impress you with where this organization is going. In addition, the Jackson Orthopedic Foundation has developed a working relationship with Samuel Merritt University, which is a stone's throw from where our office is at this time. And AJ Benham, who was on the board and is not now, but is one of the instructors there. I think I should call her a professor. But anyway, she is one of the instructors there, and she works with the Jackson Orthopedic Foundation at this time. So I think you can see that the Orthopedic Foundation, which started from its beginnings and what I just told you, has come a long way. It is now really a pretty well organized thing, and we continue to thrive, and I think the future looks bright. As I mentioned, the Jackson Orthopedic Foundation has multiple endeavors going on at this time. One of those endeavors is the health immersion program, in which students who are in college or maybe taking a year off college or somewhere at that time in their life want to learn a little bit more about musculoskeletal medicine and perhaps orthopedics particularly. So they spend a matter of a month or more in Oakland. And during that time, they are exposed to didactic sessions on various aspects of musculoskeletal care, and also then go to people's offices and get a chance to watch various physicians and practitioners actually practicing with their patients. It's a unique experience. And they have some interesting thoughts and so on about what those experiences have been. And at this time, I would like to introduce you to one of our board members, Justin Clark, who is going to introduce you to the next segment of our program, which is some of the video reflections of some of these former summer students. Justin?
Hello, everyone. Pete, thank you so much for the introduction, and thank you everyone for joining for this year's Canes event. Again, my name is Justin Clark, and just a little bit of background about myself. I'm not in medicine, and I'm on the Jackson Orthopedic Foundation Board of Directors because I've spent quite a bit of time on the exam table itself. To give kind of a background on kind of my patient experience, I have a connective tissue and skeletal disease that makes me far more susceptible to injuries. And throughout my life, I've had countless appointments for broken bones and fractures and hyperextensions and tissue tears and loose bone fragments and lots of other fun stuff. And so the impact of my disorder kind of continues now. As Pete mentioned, there are some folks who are joining us from around the world. I'm actually one of those people joining from overseas. And as my wife and I moved from Oakland to Europe in 2019, we had to kind of sort through our life and all of our belongings to figure out what we were going to move with. And as we went through my drawer of slings and ace bandages and medical tape and braces for knees and ankles and wrists, and also our freezer full of ice packs, all of those ended up in the, yes, we need to move with this pile. So I share all of this to illustrate that bone, muscle, and joint issues are a major part of my day-to-day life. and I've seen firsthand the impact that Jackson Orthopedic Foundation programs have. In a few minutes, Kathy Geyer and AJ Benham are going to kind of share more about sort of the nuts and bolts of JOF's flagship programs, and you're going to hear and see how the orthopedic primary care program and the orthopedic injection workshops provide vital training for nurses and other clinicians. What I wanted to do and kind of what I was asked to do was kind of give a patient's perspective on all this. So as I've had to go in for appointments, I can tell pretty immediately if the medical provider has kind of the skills and confidence to assess and treat my injuries. If you're a frequent patient, you can often tell when you're in good hands and the person who's treating you knows their stuff, or when you're about to get that response in which they're kind of looking at what the issue is and they're like, yeah, let's wrap it up and we'll see if the swelling goes down in a couple days, and then you can make a follow-up appointment with a specialist. And that response obviously kind of takes more time and costs money for everyone. And additionally, for the patient, it doesn't really do anything to help relieve the anxiety and mental stress they may have about what lies before them. And the reason is that many practitioners, especially some of those who are in the primary care setting, have had limited time building clinical skills for muscle, bone, and joint appointments that come in. In fact, we often hear from folks who have signed up for the orthopedic primary care program that in their coursework prior to that, they had like half a day on the subject of orthopedics, which, and I apologize for my bluntness here, is ridiculous because more than half of US adults report having a musculoskeletal condition, and kind of depending on the primary care setting, chronic musculoskeletal disorders combine between 20 to 60% of office visits. So that is why JOF's programs are so critical. They are helpful for medical practitioners to build their expertise, their skills, and their confidence, and they help further the careers and the growth in those medical fields. In addition to kind of looking at it from the practitioner's perspective, if you view the kind of programs through the lens of the patient, which I do, you can see what that long-term impact is. It's an impact that's felt by all patients that are kind of seen over the course of the practitioner's career. When they receive that training through those courses, it has a ripple effect from there. All of these patients kind of come through various areas. If it's a family health practice or urgent care clinic, occupational health centers, retail clinics, geriatric centers, all of the practitioners in that space are going to be able to treat patients in a more adept, accurate, and cost-effective way. And that care also eases the patient's physical health and their mental anxiety. So as somebody who moved and now still has a drawer full of slings and braces and bandages, I promise you that quality of care means the world of difference for patients like me. Now, as Pete mentioned, one of the other flagship programs that JOF has is the Healthcare Immersion Program. And this program also focuses on didactic and practical experiences and provides a really well-rounded experience for patients. Based on kind of talking with folks who've gone through a lot of kind of internship programs, this isn't your typical, oh, you're interested in medicine, we'll just have you follow a doctor around for a day and see what it's like. With this program, participants are given the opportunity to explore various health fields, and this helps them get a better understanding of what may be a good fit for them, and sometimes just as importantly, what may not be a good fit for them. So over the last month, I've had the privilege to chat with several individuals who have been a part of the Healthcare Immersion Program. And this evening, we are sharing some parts of those conversations. So you're going to hear from Andrew Foster, Matnoor Youssef, Dr. Marcy Goldsby, Christian Roy, and Sarah Shandy. Each of them kind of talks about how this program has impacted their academic or professional career. We appreciate that they all took the time to chat with us. Just as a note, these conversations were held over Zoom, so expect a little background noise. And finally, I am so grateful for all of you who are in attendance for being here. If I may be so bold as to speak on behalf of kind of the orthopedic and musculoskeletal patients of the world, thank you for supporting JOF's work, and I hope you enjoy the rest of the show.
So my name is Andrew Foster. I was part of the 2019 Jackson Orthopedic summer internship program, and I am currently a third year student at Occidental College, which is in Southern California. So I'm in my third undergraduate year, and I'm currently on the pre-med track. So I'm currently planning on applying to medical school. One of the things that I think was really great for me is I think when I did it, I was coming out of my first year of college. And so it was really great to kind of have this like immersive program where I was able to do sort of a mix of hands-on learning classes through the clinics, and then also have this really great mentor experiences with shadowing. And so I, even to this day, I can still recall the individual doctors and practitioners that I worked with. It was just a really great experience just to be able to see people in their working environments, and they'll also be able to talk with people one-on-one, and also have the background and the foundation where you're building skills either through bandaging classes or x-ray clinics. So for me, I had a really great experience just with a very holistic and sort of multidisciplinary approach that the program offered.
So my name is Mahnur Yusuf. Right now, I'm currently a fourth year at UCSD. I'm studying biochemistry and cell biology, and I'm minoring in global health. It was nice being able to like practice doing like splinting and casting and like injections, and I think that was like the best experience I ever got, like hands-on experience. So it's very helpful. Being able to shadow physicians in clinic, it really gave me the experience that I was looking for in terms of what it really means to be a doctor. You can see that it's more than just like medical knowledge. It's like bedside manner, how to talk to people. Just being fully immersed in like the healthcare program was very, very beneficial for me. And it really did teach me that healthcare is a field that I would really like to work in.
My name is Marcy Goolsby. I'm a primary care sports medicine physician at Hospital for Special Surgery, or HSS, in New York City. So I think I was a summer intern in 1998. It's possible. I think it was 1998. So I was an intern then. I found out about the internship through one of my peers, Jake Keeperman, who did the summer internship with me that year. We were both graduates of Camp Lindo High School, where Dr. Reynolds had been the team physician for a number of years, and had set up an opportunity for for college students who'd graduated from that high school to have an experience. For me, I was not from a medical background. Like, I didn't have any family members who were in medicine. So that was my first real exposure to medicine. And it was incredible. I mean, Dr. Reynolds really put so much effort into giving us an individualized experience. So for me, he introduced me to and had me spend some time with some females in sports medicine, not only in orthopedic surgery, but in primary care sports medicine, which is where I ended up. I spent a week with a physician at Cal named Cindy Chang, who actually is still our paths have continued to meet throughout the years. And she's actually, I consider her a very close friend and colleague now, as well as a mentor. So when I had that experience, it was sort of like, this is what I want to do. This is what I want to be when I grow up. And I didn't have that exposure before. So I'm incredibly grateful.
Hi, everyone. My name is Christian Roy. I started working as a physical therapy aide with the intention of becoming a physical therapist. But now I am sort of in a transition state right now, looking at becoming a physician assistant. The health immersion program kind of helped me decide really what I wanted to do and what exactly a physician assistant was doing. So it provided me more answers than what I was actually looking for. So the clarity, the guidance between Kathy and Jacob and a bunch of our clinical preceptors, which was a really nice thing to have during the program.
My name is Sarah. I graduated from UC Davis in 2019 with a major in biochemistry, molecular biology, and then I also did a minor in human physiology. I'm currently at CSU East Bay's post-bac program, so it was helpful to be in the health immersion program to understand different types of jobs that we can have, and it's not just MD or DO out there. And there's more things that you can do to help people.
Different people have different backgrounds and different experiences, and some people know from an early age this is what they want to do. For me, it was sort of like a narrowing down. So it was like, I really liked science. Then I knew I wanted to do something service related. Then it became healthcare. And then it was, what do I want to do within healthcare? I went through a process of trying to figure out what in medicine or healthcare I wanted to do. So that was really important, just to have exposure to different things at an age where you really are trying to figure out what you want to do moving forward.
The health immersion program is very nice, to where we will learn something, and then as soon as we go into those clinical sites, we get to apply it. Like I can follow like a physician, how they're doing their musculoskeletal exam, and I'm like, oh, okay, I can follow this. So it's really nice to put those two together and finally be like, oh my gosh, like a light bulb just went off, and this is like the career I want.
And that even though I'm, primarily at this point interested in orthopedic surgery, when you are working in the orthopedic field, you're going to deal with patients who are going to physical therapists and who are working with nurses, and to be able to see those fields in real life and actually be able to communicate with them directly and kind of receive mentorship for them, I think is super helpful, in that it builds the foundation for your sort of medical expertise and your medical background knowledge that's outside of just clinical expertise or classroom kind of skills.
And even for me, like they would explain all the steps to me before we're going into the meetings with the patients. They would like explain all the patient's background, and I was really happy to see that they're not just only trying to go help the patient, but they're willing to explain what they're going to do with the patient to me as well. And like, I'm not even a medical student yet, so that was really nice to see. Like, I wasn't expecting the doctors to be so like being able to cooperate with me so much, and I'm really happy that they did. That was a really great experience. Like I really did feel like, oh, like I'm kind of standing with the physician's shoes.
Being one of the earlier interns, is we got to be a participant in the development of the center, and helped, I think, kind of mold what the future was. And I can't speak, I didn't spend a lot of time with Dr. Jackson, but with Dr. Reynolds, I mean, what a generous man. He really had an incredible impact on so many of us that came through, particularly in those early years, who got to be a part of his life and experience and be benefit from his generosity and passion. I mean, he had an incredible amount of passion for what he did, and I'm incredibly grateful for the experience. I don't think I'd be doing what I'm doing if I hadn't had that opportunity.
I really like the support. I know that Kathy and Jacob were the people we spoke to on a weekly basis, and they really, I know I can call Kathy or Jacob if I need help with anything in life, or with medical or like school stuff. I know I can turn to them. I think that's what I enjoyed most about the program, is that I have a support system with Jackson Orthopedic Foundation.
I think one thing that I can say is, also as an African-American student, as a student of color, I really had a great experience at Jackson Orthopedic, in that it was both in my group, there were also a lot of other diverse candidates, which I think is really rare and important in medicine. There's so many medical programs that, haven't necessarily been as ahead of the curve, so to speak, on that front. And so it was just a really positive and supportive environment to me. And not just, I think with the, the program itself, but with the individual people that run it. Kathy and Jacob both put like so much of their heart and souls into that program. And it was just, I think not just in what I got out of the program, but the actual experience of it itself was really, really positive for me. And I just, I had a great time all over.
I could be an example as being as a non-traditional student who is changing a little bit of their career path and is not, I'm sort of not on this like linear line towards my career, but more like a roller coaster. But this is nice to have, especially in a time of transition, to, seek out answers, seek out mentors, seek out experience. And so this is a great program.
So it's my turn to talk. Hi, I'm Kathy Geyer, and I want to first thank Justin for the interviews and the editing of that clip. It was really heartening to see many of our students, and many of you are here today. So welcome and thank you for sharing everything that you did in those videos with us. What I'd like to do next is tell you a little bit about the Healthcare Immersion Program. And to do that, we'll have the next slide up, if you will, please. The Healthcare Immersion Program got a nice introduction by both, by all the speakers who went before me, as well as by our students. I think they say it best. The program, as this slide tells you, is truly an immersion experience in healthcare. Some of you who are with us today have also served as preceptors for these students, and without all of you, this program just wouldn't work for us. The Healthcare Immersion Program, formerly known as the Summer Intern Program, which when Marcy was in the program, that's what it was called 20 some years ago. It's hard to believe it's that long. But it is our most long-standing program at the foundation, and it's an annual program. We hold it in the summer when college students are not in school, and it's an opportunity to explore various health fields, as Justin told you. It is very well described by the students who gave the reflection. So let's go to the next slide, and I'll just give you a few highlights about the program. This slide picture actually came up during the video clip, but one of the aspects of the program is a weekly clinical conference. And the last 3 years, I have been privileged to work with Jacob, my son, Jacob Geyer, who is the teacher in this description or this slide here of teaching our summer students. This was just 2 years ago, teaching our summer students how to do blood pressures, which is a very good skill to have. So we meet weekly for clinical conferences. And then the next slide, please, will show you one of the things that we incorporate is a skills workshop. And this workshop's a little bit longer than the weekly conferences, and we teach our students kind of fun things. The casting workshop is one of our favorite ones. And this is being taken just this summer when we're all wearing masks, of course, because we came together as a very small group and learned how to put casts on each other. And then the other component, next slide, please, when we have an opportunity, and we don't always have this opportunity, but when it fits into the program and there are preceptors available, we try to give our students a chance to observe surgery. So these 4 students are, I think, from either 2 or 3 years ago and had the chance to watch surgery. And it's a nice component to the program because they can put the pieces together about musculoskeletal care. The other thing that I think is a key part of this program, as I said just a moment ago, is our preceptors. Melissa Allen is here today. Dr. Slaybaugh has been a preceptor. If I'm missing anybody who's here, we couldn't do this without the clinical healthcare providers who provide the opportunity for our students to have this immersion shadowing experience. So I'm going to turn the program over now to my colleague and professional partner, Dr. A.J. Benham, who will tell you a little bit about a second of our flagship programs. And this is the Orthopedic Primary Care Program.
So before I launch into that, I just, in case anybody's wondering why we changed from summer internship program to healthcare immersion program, or from SIP to HIP, just want to clarify for you that that has to do with Department of Labor and other confusions about what exactly is an intern. It apparently turns out that some intern programs are working young people to death without paying them, and there's a lot of scrutiny of any program that's got intern in its name. So as we do our outreach to colleges and other schools, we found that it was better to avoid that term, and then we came up with the fabulous HIP acronym, which we just couldn't resist. So that's how that happened. Just a little side note there for you. 4-year Jackson Orthopedic Foundation trivia contest that may be held in a future year. So that's that piece. In terms of the Orthopedic Primary Care Program, this is something that had its inception in 2013. Dr. Geyer and I returned for our doctorate specifically out of our felt need to help nurse practitioners get more formal training in musculoskeletal conditions. As Justin told told us earlier, he's had the experience he has had with primary care providers who really weren't comfortable assessing or diagnosing or really knowing when to refer to orthopedic surgeons is not an unusual one. And it's only recently that medical schools have included enough information or a dedicated course in musculoskeletal topics in their curriculum after 10 years of lobbying by the orthopedic profession. Nurse practitioners, Kathy and I are sort of carrying that work along with a couple other people in the country forward. There is only one graduate level program for nurse practitioners in the program. It's at Duke University, and we offer an alternative for nurse practitioners who want this information, but don't necessarily want to go to another graduate level program with all the expense and work, I won't say work that entails, but the expense and inconvenience of traveling across the country. So we're one of two in the country. We started, we developed and co-piloted the program in 2013. We revised it based on the input and feedback from our first group of students, and then we taught it for 5 years, refining it between 2015 and 2014 and 2019, constantly getting feedback from small groups of nurse practitioners who met every month for 6 months in our little Oakland offices. We decided ultimately that we were ready to try to launch it and get it more widespread than that. And as online learning became more of a thing for everybody, even before COVID, well, we made it our 2020 goal to get the whole thing put online. And we were able to do that with the help of our friend and technical colleague, Tom Wagner, who helped us record many of our lectures, so that students can now take all or part of the program on their own time schedule, in their comfort of their own homes. They have lectures, they have assignments that they get to do. When they complete all of that, they can come to a workshop on ground in Oakland usually, and do the hands-on. Because what we found with all of our students is what they really, really want to spend time with us doing is practicing exam skills and working through case studies and looking at x-rays. They want to practice their clinical skills. And we were finding that when we did it on ground, being busy people, most everybody put the reading and video reviewing off until the weekend workshop. And then we were stuck kind of doing all that material instead of being able to give them hands-on. So it's evolved quite nicely. Unfortunately, our first year of going totally hybrid with the weekend workshops got a little put aside because of COVID, but we still have students who are working through the online portion, and at some point we'll gather them all for a maybe long weekend workshop, perhaps in someplace more exciting than Oakland. You never know. So that's where OPC is today. We're launching forward and getting it accredited by one of the collegiate nursing bodies, and thinking and working on a survey now of nurse practitioner faculty to find out how we could get it distributed easily, give it to nursing programs so that it could be easily adapted in nurse practitioner curriculums with as little fuss and bother as possible. So this is a picture of the kind of things that the students actually get to do in the workshop. She's doing a spinal exam, testing the flexion, and the students have plenty of time to work on trying out their new techniques on each other. And then usually at the end of each workshop, we also bring in a couple of real life patients, and they get to, God bless those volunteers as well, and the students all examine them. So this has been a real interesting progression of the development of this program over the last 7 or 8 years. And we're keeping up with the technology. Here's a couple of our students testing nerve function. They're just doing reflexes, and another one doing an upper extremity physical examination. Like the hip students, they also get a chance to do casting, splinting. We teach them not only how to assess patients and understand which patients they can care for in primary care and which ones and how to refer to a surgeon, so that when that surgeon gets their note and referral, that surgeon can almost say, whoops, this patient has failed all conservative care. They're ready for surgery and I can take them. Surgeons really seem to appreciate this, and the students have really learned to become good communicators with patients about what their condition is and teaching them as much self-care as possible and reassuring them about the prognosis and its likely outcome. These are the, if you recall, the very things that Justin was talking about, being disappointed when his primary care provider wasn't able to provide those. So all of that is wrapped up now into a very interesting online course with weekend workshops. So I think Kathy can tell you now a little bit about our third flagship program, which is our orthopedic injection workshops.
Happy to talk about that a little bit. I do want to make one mention. From that last image, you saw one of our team members, Tom Wagner. You may not have recognized him, volunteering to be a patient. And just in case you have a desire to be a model, yes, with Carolina, who's also here with us today. Carolina's in the audience, and she was one of our nurse practitioners who took the orthopedic primary care course. But if we do ask you to be a model, please feel free to volunteer, because especially if you have a musculoskeletal condition that may be interesting for one of our students to discover in the course of their learning. And Mr. Wagner was kind enough to come to a couple of workshops in the last few years. So one of our prime patients. So next slide, please. And the third of our flagship programs is the orthopedic injection workshop. And you may have noticed a progression of our programs. We grab them when they're college students, as young, interested in medicine people. And then as they develop their musculoskeletal careers, they may or may not need to come to our orthopedic primary care course, but that's more for the licensed professional who's in healthcare, a clinician. And then this program, our third flagship program, is the newest. And we were very fortunate a few years ago to receive a substantial grant that allowed us to purchase models for giving intra-articular or joint injections. So we use these models. We do a weekend workshop twice a year. Before COVID came, we're on a little bit of a hiatus right now, but we'll be back. And as you can see in this image, there's students learning how to do injections into joints, which is a very useful skill in musculoskeletal health and care. So those are our three programs. Next slide, and here they are, just summarized all on one slide. HIP, which is Healthcare Immersion Program, or OPC, which is Orthopedic Primary Care, and OIW, which is Orthopedic Injection Workshop. And we can't add another program unless it will fit into 3 letters. No, just kidding, but we've had a good time doing all these programs and putting them together. So let's move into this next part of our program. And the next slide, please. It's my privilege to show you what comes out of final projects for some of these programs. Our students who are in the Healthcare Immersion Program are asked, and have been for the last couple of years, to create a public service announcement video. And we give them the criteria. We let them really do what they want with it. But the only real rule is it can only be 3 minutes or less. We've been so impressed by their videos. So this is the highlight of the show today. We want you to watch all 5 videos. Osteomalacia by Heidi Sutton, Osteoporosis by Joni Baker. And these 2 ladies were both part of our orthopedic primary care course in 2020. And then the last 3 videos are sciatica, Maknoor Yusuf, osteoporosis, and 2 of our students from our 2020 cohort created this one, Sarah Shandy and Christian Roy. And then finally, Stay Active by Roxy Wiblin, who was in our 2020 cohort as well. And I think she's with us today. Hi, Roxy. So what we'll ask you to do is wait till you see them all. Then you can text in your vote for which one you think is number 1. And you'll be able to see the votes counting up on the screen. You could also go to swiftpolling.com and enter the number on your screen, 17632. It's another way to vote. So I think the pictures are next, are they not? I think we go right into showing you the 5 videos. Pay close attention and be ready to vote.
Today we'll be talking about osteoporosis. Osteoporosis is a fairly common metabolic bone disease characterized by low bone density. Unfortunately, it's oftentimes not apparent until someone suffers a fall or minor trauma. It's very common in postmenopausal women age 50 or older due to changes in hormone levels. 1 out of every 2 women over age 50 will suffer a fracture related to osteoporosis. We went out into the public and interviewed someone to find out what they think osteoporosis is.
Excuse me, sir. Can I ask you a question?
Sure.
What comes to mind when you hear the word osteoporosis?
Brittle bones.
Brittle bones. Thank you.
Risk factors for osteoporosis include age, gender, postmenopause, smoking and alcohol use, and long-term glucocorticoid use. The primary test used for measuring bone mineral density is the DEXA scan. DEXA scan stands for Dual Energy X-ray Absorptiometry. According to the National Women's Health Network, they believe that a DEXA scan used alone fails to identify women that are truly at high risk and may potentially expose women that are actually at a low risk to unnecessary, potentially dangerous drugs. Several algorithms have been developed to use complex clinical data like family history, diet, prior fracture, and DEXA scan results to produce a more accurate estimate of how likely someone is to fracture within the next 10 years. FRAX, F-R-A-X, is the most widely used of these algorithms. Prevention of osteoporosis includes ensuring optimal calcium and vitamin D intake, as well as weight-bearing and muscle strengthening exercises.
Activities like hiking.
Thanks for watching. I hope this helps you understand a little bit more about osteoporosis.
Hello, today I'll be talking about sciatica. Sciatica refers to pain that runs down along the sciatic nerve. The sciatic nerve is a very long nerve that stretches from the lower back down to the hips and down each leg. Sciatic pain usually affects one side of the body, and common causes are a herniated disc or bone spurs as shown. The nerve is usually pinched, which causes pain. Levels of pain vary from person to person, with many people being able to fully recover. One of the biggest ways that one can prevent sciatica, or if one does have sciatica, is exercise. Exercise 1 shows the lying glute stretch. With this exercise, you lie on your back and cross one leg over the other knee and then bring the foot close to the chest. This should be held for 3 to 5 seconds and repeated 5 to 8 times for both sides or as comfortable. There should be a stretch being felt on the lower glute. Exercise 2 shows a hip flexor exercise. Placing one foot in front of you, slowly bend both legs until the knee is lower to the ground. This exercise should be repeated 10 to 15 times on both sides. The last exercise I'll be showing is a supine piriformis stretch. Lying on your back, bend your knees upwards and cross the affected leg over the other leg and upwards towards your chest. Then pull the knee towards your chest. You should feel a stretch in the glutes and do this for 30 seconds or however much you feel comfortable with. The lower back and hips have been some of the most problematic areas for pain. In order to treat this pain, daily exercise is recommended, whether it be outdoors or indoors.
What is osteoporosis? It's a systemic skeletal disease characterized by low bone mass and microarchitectural deterioration of bone tissue, with consequent increase in bone fragility and susceptibility to fracture. Who does osteoporosis affect? Osteoporosis affects 10 million people in the United States. Fractures resulting from osteoporosis are more common in women after age 55 and men after age 65.
Osteoporosis affects all bones, but hip fractures and vertebral fractures are strongly associated with reductions in hip bone mineral density and spinal bone mineral density. Here are some ways that you can prevent or manage your osteoporosis. Do weight-bearing activities like playing tennis. How about going on a nice outdoor hike? Don't forget to wear your mask. How about going jogging outdoors? Or walking with a friend or family member? You can do these activities 4 to 7 days a week at moderate to high intensity. You can start with as low as 5 to 10 minutes a day and then increase to 20 to 45 minutes a day. Now for some strength training ideas.
Do strength training exercises, such as squats or sit-to-stands with a chair. You can do these 2 to 3 days a week. Start with 12 repetitions at low intensity. If you're feeling ready, you can increase resistance and do about 8 reps for each major muscle group. Remember to take a break between each day.
And feel free to add some balancing exercises. Try standing on one leg for 30 seconds to a minute 3 times. Be sure you have something to grab onto just in case you lose your balance. And don't forget to stay hydrated.
Please consult with your clinician about medical concerns. No bones or models were hurt in the making of this video. We would like to thank the Jackson Orthopedic Foundation for their time and efforts in teaching this year's Health Immersion Program cohort. We would like to personally thank Kathy, Jacob, Dr. Denham, Tom Wagner, and our preceptors for teaching us foundations of orthopedics and being a part of our journey in pursuing medicine. In good health, Sarah and Christian.
So you're retired and everything's cool. No job, no kids. This life rules. You do what you want, you do as you please, but lots of time you're in front of TVs or playing bridge, knitting a sweater or two. Being sedentary is what you do, but is this how it's meant to be? Here are some risks I'd like you to see. Poor circulation, DVT, soft bones, higher risk of mortality. Your abs get mushy, your hips get tight, your glutes get limp, you just don't feel right. Your brain gets foggy, sore shoulders and back. To prevent all this, listen to this track. Stay active, get up on your feet, stay active, move it to the beat. Start slow, listen to your body. Take a walk, invite somebody, do some light stretches, open up your hips, do some cat-cows, arch and dip. Low impact workouts are best for you. Water aerobics, the elliptical too. You don't just need weights to get stronger, listen just a little longer. Control your squats and modify, practice balance, and you'll be spry. An active lifestyle is what's for you. Tell your friends and neighbors too. Stay active. Get up on your feet. Stay active. Move it to the beat.
Wow. Well, that's just every time I see these videos, I'm impressed with the effort and knowledge that goes into them. So you've seen the videos from this year's summer immersion group. And as I say, every time I watch these, I'm impressed. We started this a few years ago, and when we first decided, let's have these videos shown to people, we thought, well, it's not French cons video material quite, but it is somewhere in the line of that. So we decided to use Canes instead, which is our JOF version of the Cannes French Film Festival. So now you know how we came up with the name, and you can pronounce it Cannes or Canes or however you like after you've seen these videos. But now it's time to reward the people who did these. And by the way, I want to say that, you know, the effort that goes into by the students is fantastic. So it's time to cast your vote for the video that you believe demonstrated the most ingenuity and quality among those you have just seen. Again, it's time to vote for videos. One of them, Osteomalacia by Heidi Sutton, Osteoporosis by Joni Baker, Sciatica by Manor Youssef, Osteoporosis by Sarah Shandy and Christian Roy, or Stay Active by Roxy Weblin. You will see on the screen now, your votes will be tabulated in real time as we determine the winner. As we are winding the end of this virtual get together, I want to again thank all of the sponsors of this this Jackson Orthopedic Foundation event. And thank you for your participation in it in the chat rooms prior to the main program that you've seen now. I also want to remind you that the silent auction is still in progress, and you have another half an hour or so after the completion of this active portion of the program to bid on those silent auction items. So we are nearing the end of the voting. I think someone is going to tell me when we have gotten there so we can have the official winner, and hopefully it'll go a little faster than the recent presidential election. Well, it looks like we have a near tie between Osteoporosis by Joni Baker and Stay Active by Roxy Weblin. But Roxy wins by a nose, it looks like. So I would like to congratulate her on winning this Canes video contest. But most importantly, I want to congratulate all of the students who worked on this. I every time I see this, as I said a minute ago, I'm just really impressed with not only their ability to put together a video like this and show their creativity, but they're learning a subject that they feel that they can then work into a video and make it as effective as it is. And I always look forward to these every year when we see them. So again, congratulations to Roxy, but really congratulations to all of the students who participated in making these videos. Again, want to remind you of the continuing silent auction. But before concluding this program, I would like to introduce Tim Hart of our marketing committee to show you kind of the future of where the Jackson Orthopedic Foundation can be going. Tim has been working on some marketing ideas, and he's going to take time now to present one that we just recently became aware we were accepted in. So again, thank you very much for your attendance and participation in this rather unique virtual Canes get together, and perhaps next year we will have the opportunity to see you in person.
Brilliant. Thank you, Pete, and thank you everybody for coming. What an exciting day, and thank you for enduring and enjoying and participating in our first ever virtual Canes, and seeing all the wonderful work that's going on. Thanks to all of your support. The thing that I wanted to quickly mention, if you haven't had a chance recently, is to please take a look through the Jackson Orthopedic Foundation's new website, jacksonortho.org. And we're very, very excited that in 2 weeks, we're going to be given an award for the website as being a digital leader in the healthcare space. So we have gone so far with our work, and we are being held up with peers in the industry as far as great accessibility and the functionality and design of our website to be more user-friendly than ever. You can book courses online now through our online shop. You can instantly view a webinar and get 1 CEU to learn more about the foundations behind orthopedic primary care. You can sign up to volunteer. You can do many, many things. And as many of you have already wonderfully done, you can also donate easily online. So thank you so much. But again, spend a little time perusing the site if you would, and we'll keep you posted on the blog and on social media about the award and much more in the near future. So I believe it's down to me now to wrap things up, and thank you all so much for a wonderful event and for your incredible support. And just a reminder that it's because of your support that you are helping fund vital training for nurses and other clinicians that benefit the lives of musculoskeletal patients and, of course, the clinicians who care for them. And just one final reminder before we say goodbye, the silent auction is open until 6:30 Pacific time. So if you haven't had a chance, please get in there, and there's still some fantastic items there to take advantage of. So thank you again. Thanks on behalf of Jackson Orthopedic Foundation, and everybody stay safe and have a wonderful week ahead. Thank you.